Hey guys, Ronnie Soud here. Welcome
And
to
Dania.
Yep, we have Danny here too. So welcome to the Final Click Marketing Show with us. We have an awesome topic for you today. We are going to be talking about Googleizing your business, for lack of a better term. Why not, make it more of a verb than it already is? So I myself am a Google fan dude. Have been for many, many years. What a lot of people don't know, digital marketing is all that I've ever done. And so I've kind of grown my career with Google. And right now, I think it's a really fitting time, sitting in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic and all, to be talking about how Google has grown their full suite of products and tools for businesses to use. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yep. And I'm fairly new to Google. I've maybe a little bit under a year I've been using it. And even just within that time span, they've added new stuff. So it's really interesting how they can be so beneficial with the changing times.
Exactly. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to be talking about everything that they have. But we're going to kind of be doing it in reverse. And what I mean by that is a lot of times when we talk with clients and when we're on here, we're talking about a traditional marketing funnel, right? I got to get my hand placement right with so we're talking about the traditional marketing funnel where we go from discovery to awareness, consideration, and then conversion. We're going to do that in reverse today because I always feel that it's better to scale Google's products in reverse, starting with conversion first, and then going into consideration, awareness, and discovery. And so, we're going to be talking about a lot of different stuff. I think most of the public does not know what all Google has at its disposal. I don't know if you did. So Dania is actually a great resource. So here at Soud Marketing, she manages our client list up on Google. And, tell us a little bit about that. From when you started to where you are today, did you realize the depth that they had?
Yeah, I had no idea about the depth. I knew that I didn't realize Google My Business had so many features that were completely free that could really, and how much it affected a brand's presence on the internet. I also didn't realize that Google had display or YouTube. So I always knew, okay, you have your ads at the top when you search something. I knew that, but I didn't know that Google was in control of the ads you see on, like CNN or any of the big websites. And I didn't know that the ads in YouTube were controlled by Google. I always thought that was a separate thing with YouTube. So it all really works together. And I'm still learning about how to be strategic with each feature and how it affects the purchase decision.
Right. And that's a good point too. So, I think a lot of people don't know Google owns YouTube, right? And in the same way that Facebook owns Instagram, and then they bought out WhatsApp too. So these giants, have made acquisitions that have made them even bigger. But they're not just acquisitions; they're very smart, company purchases in the way us as humans are interacting with the internet, right? So video growth initially was skyrocketing. This was years ago. And so then Google just went and they acquired YouTube. And with that, they then get to share some of the technology, right? So YouTube gets bolstered with Google's search algorithm technology. And then Google essentially gets bolstered with a wealth of video content that YouTube already had. So with that being said, I think we're going to start launching into all the various products that Google has. And what we're going to be talking about specifically here today is Google My Business, Google Ads for search, remarketing or retargeting, display ads, YouTube ads, and then Google Analytics. So that's 7 products that Google has at its disposal, some of which are completely free and you should definitely be using. But those are 7 products that Google has at its disposal for every business to use and help grow. So what I'd like to hop into is Google My Business first.
Sure.
All right. And, in saying that too, Google is masters of intent. And what I mean by that is, they have a blank homepage essentially with just a search bar on there. And we as consumers go there and we type in and tell them everything that we want or what we're looking for. And in doing so, one of the products that they came out with, Google My Business, is a way of sharing your business's information with that consumer. And it's primarily based on proximity.
Right. So it's always, if people don't know exactly what it is, when you search something like restaurant near me, it's that first bar that comes up with the map and has all the listings with the ratings and names and addresses, etc.
That's true. We have I'm going to share my screen really quick and I'll show you guys an example of it. So share. So this is Google My Business here. Okay. And it typically, so, if you're looking for pizza near me, right, it typically comes with a map up at the top. And then the listings that are closest to where I'm searching from, right? And so, really what that means is that some of the biggest ranking factors is based on searchers' proximity here. Okay, so in terms of who shows up here and who ranks, 1, 2, and 3. And this product is completely free, And so if you have not verified your Google listing yet, you really should. And it also comes with a ton of free tools in terms of information that you can load in about yourself. And so things like your business name and what we call NAP, name, address, phone number, okay, as well as any images and videos that you have of your business. Those show up on those listings there when users go about and start searching for either a product, a service, or searching you by brand name.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but for me, I do take in consideration location, but the 2 most important features for me are the reviews and the pictures. I feel like with the pictures, you feel like, okay, this is an established business, I trust it. And then with the reviews, it kind of also does the same thing. But I kind of wanted to touch on the reviews and how you shouldn't stress about getting a perfect 5-star review. I feel like if you only have 5-star reviews, it kind of makes you look like a fake business anyways. So I would say like the ideal range is between a 4.5 and a 5. And on top of that, I feel like a lot of questions we always get from clients are, how do I get people to review my business on Google? And I would recommend 2 ways. One, you can add it to your email sequence. So, after someone makes a purchase or uses your service, there's Google where you can add into your email. But you do need to have your address in to do that. And then the second one is just an in-person discount. Like it's happened to me a bunch of times when I, go to an eye doctor and they're like, if you fill out this review, then I'll give you a 10% discount or whatever on lenses. So I really highly recommend doing reviews.
That's interesting because I feel like certain industries used to feel like they were immune or not applicable to a lot of this stuff. And now, I feel like the medical industry has the most questions about migrating everything and touching consumers online, right? Retail, travel, a lot of those other industries really adopted this early. But, I feel like in the last few years, medical is really starting to adopt this in extremely fast too. So it's interesting that you brought up the point about your eye doctor.
Yeah. Medical can be kind of tricky because people, people are in pain or they need something solved immediately.
Mhm.
So that's always been kind of a challenge to, make all the reviews super happy. But like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect 100% of the time. Like I feel like the general user, when the reviews, they understand if there's one person that's a little cranky. So
Mhm.
as long as you just have a large amount of reviews, I feel like it's good.
Right. Exactly. Um, and so with the reviews too, they can really make or break a business. Okay. If it's something that you ignore, it really shouldn't be. And as Dania said, we haven't seen it drop a business just because it's not getting, 5-star reviews all the time. I think the important thing is that you're active on there. When you don't get a perfect review, go on there and say, hey, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. Maybe there was something happening that day that affected service. Also, it's your chance to also make it right with that particular user, and so you
Yeah.
can offer them a free meal, a coupon, another free consultation if it's needed. And then you can kind of do that publicly. And it really shows a lot of goodwill from a business to inbound consumers, I would say. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
So I want to share my screen again because Google My Business, it is a big place for action. And what I want to show you guys right now is what most people are doing on there. And so right now, portions of searches that affect Google My Business listings. As you can see here, 16% of those are direct searches. And what that means is when you know the name of the company or the business or the brand that you're looking for, and you type that into Google, only 16% of the time are those searches triggering Google My Business listings. The other 84% is what's called discovery searches. So people that are looking for providers or products to help solve their problems. So, when you're shopping for new tires or shopping for a restaurant or shopping for, a doctor, so on and so forth, Google My Business does have, 84% does have consistent visibility on those searches and does help influence, I would say brand consideration. And then also the purchase and the final buying decision.
Right. That's why I would say it's really important to fill out every single part of your Google My Business, especially you can select what industry, like what product or service you sell. You have to be really specific about that. So you can minimize your competitors and also so people can reach you like this graph shows.
Very true. I saw this other interesting stat that say, 80% of people say, wrong one. Sorry. So this one here, 90% of people surveyed globally visited a store in the last week, but they searched online first. Okay. So Google My Business, as well as some of Google's other products, right, really drive action. And some of that being where they're doing a lot of research online that then drove them in store, right?
Right.
And so I do that a lot, especially with local things out here. So you live in a smaller Florida town. I live, at the beach in Florida, which is a barrier island. So that means we have to cross the bridge to go in town. And a lot of times I will utilize Google search, to get a handful of ideas that then, really does drive me in store to go shop for further. Because one thing that I hate is I think really physically wasting my time in the stores.
Yeah.
When they can't fulfill my need,
Right. And that's why with COVID being a thing right now, it's really important to keep updating your store hours, do delivery or pickup or anything like that. Google My Business has been really good about providing resources for businesses during COVID and sending you emails to prompt you to make sure that's all up to date. But yeah, you definitely don't want a customer to think that you're open and you're really not, and they waste their time over there, and then you probably won't get them as a customer again.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like now if shopping used to be a hobby and now it's like a time sensitive sport, right?
Yeah.
If people search for, a certain type of jeans or shirt and they walk in and you don't have it, I mean, they view it as, well, what did I drive over here for? Right. And, of course I could have bought that on Amazon. So
yeah, definitely.
And to one of Danya's points too, relating to the coronavirus, I found this interesting article from Search Engine Land. And so stats about the coronavirus and how it's changing consumer behavior is really starting to just kind of roll out. But one thing that I saw in here of note is that in the first quarter of 2020, Target said that it saw 5 million new shoppers. Okay. 40% of those people are buying online, but they're picking up curbside. Right. So I think the biggest migration of this that we're seeing is in the over 50 crowd. People that are used to physically always going into the stores are now using things like curbside pickup, Instacart for grocery stores, so on and so forth. They're really didn't have a choice and are migrating in droves to I wouldn't say online channels, but like online sources of convenience now, where they haven't done that in the past.
Right. I know I've definitely looked up, restaurants or grocery stores that I'll literally type in Google restaurant near me that I can pick up curbside pickup. So if you have that in your Google My Business listing, definitely more likely to show up for that. So since that is becoming a big trend, it's important to update your Google My Business with that.
Exactly. The other thing is that what I thought was interesting too is that, Best Buy during the same period reported 250% increase in e-commerce growth. And so, Best Buy has a large suite of products that are, essentially more expensive than what's found at a Target or a grocery store. So, the point here is that it's not just small items, right? People are continuing to shop. They're continuing to use Google to sort of narrow down where they're going to be buying and to also help them decide what they're going to be buying, which brand. But larger ticket items now are starting to migrate and be sold more online than in person.
Right.
So interesting stat there.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be that big of a number. That's interesting.
Oh yeah. It's huge. And I think we're going to start seeing this. We have a pretty good sized jewelry client here locally. I think that we're going to start seeing more luxury purchases like that. Websites like Carvana, the jewelry industry has a number of large online retailers that operate only online. They don't have an actual physical store. And of course, electronics were always bought online, but not at the same pace, right? Now we're seeing increased pace. So, with that being said, I think it kind of tees us up in going from the free local Google My Business listings to moving into paid advertising with Google. And so, and what specifically we're talking about is Google search. It's those ads that show up at the very top of every Google search that we do. And what you might not have known about those is that they're absolutely free to be shown, and you only get paid when you click. Hence, the general name for that type of advertising is pay per click, PPC, CPC, so on and so forth. And so Google wasn't the first to do it, but when their search engine really started to take off and get a lot of usage, they certainly perfected it, I would say. And so you haven't used anything but Google, have you? Like, you grew up, right? Yeah. Okay.
No, I definitely, when I was really young, maybe I used like Yahoo once or twice, but
Okay. Yeah.
no, I only use Google.
Okay.
Hmm.
So when I first started in digital marketing, I was about your age. So Dania is in her 20s. I'm
23.
not. Oh, she's 23. I'm going on 40 in August. But when I first started, when I was 23, 22, 23, I used to put 90% of my clients' budget into Yahoo.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so at the time, they had all the market share and they had the more sophisticated pay-per-click system. And
Hmm.
then Google was kind of this thing from California that was cool and started, really getting adopted and all that. And so, I began, of course, like migrating budget out of Yahoo and putting more of it into Google. Now, I mean, we do 90% in Google. And, typically when someone is performing well from Google ads, we start migrating some of those funds into Bing, because
Hmm.
Bing is sort of the second,
Right.
actually Bing is the fourth biggest engine now. Believe it
Really?
or not. Yeah. So it goes Google and then YouTube, Baidu, which is in China. So Baidu is China's
Okay.
Google, and then Bing, which has it's growing, because of PCs and all, but it has a small market share here within the US. So,
Hmm.
um, but some of the stuff that I love about Google ads specific to my clients is that I would say, and back me up on this, but I would say Google search is by far our highest ROI channel, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And, the power of that, to me, it is the most powerful and sophisticated advertising system ever created. And
Hmm.
just the fact that people can go to a place and type in exactly what they want, what they're looking for, and you as a business have the ability to run an ad there to service them is incredible to me, right?
Yeah.
From traditional advertising where there's a lot of wasted spend up on radio and TV and things of that
Hmm.
nature, there's virtually no wasted spend on Google,
Right.
you know.
Right. It's amazing because you can do, specific keywords, but also with the location, you
Mm-hmm.
can do it as small as you know, basically just where your business is. So someone who's walked through your business, or you can do it as big as, a whole state. But typically
Mm-hmm.
I like to do, around like a 10 to 15-mile radius around a business. I mean, it really depends with our strategy, but it's really great to have the combination of both location and keywords because I mean, how much more targeted can you get than that, honestly?
Yeah, it's not, I don't understand why. So this is something that we used to have to sell. We're not having to, sell the idea of being on Google as much anymore. But to me, every business should be running ads up on Google in some capacity, right?
Hmm.
And that's the cool thing is that you're in complete control. Daniel started hinting on this, so you can have it be a very tight radius, right, around your office building, or you can go and if you want to ship worldwide or across the US, you can get national visibility. It's so flexible and puts you in the driver's seat. Um,
Right.
and in saying that too, it's also flexible on budget. So it's self-service, right? Meaning there's no contracts. You pay Google for visibility. So whenever
Hmm.
someone clicks your ad, you get charged, right? The way
Hmm.
you get charged is you're in an online auction versus other competing advertisers. Okay. So you're paying basically the fair market rate versus what everyone else is willing to pay for one single click. So again, it's free just to be shown. You only get charged when someone clicks.
Right. And
And
the really great thing about that, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
no,
is
go ahead.
with all the keywords, you can see who clicked which keyword, which is the best performing one. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really easy to tweak your strategy. And, if you want to pause some keywords that aren't working so well and put more budget into a keyword that is working well, that's really great quality that it has. And there's no timeline on it. You can do it whenever you
Mm-hmm.
want.
Right. And so, some of the things that you can control. So you can control which keywords you advertise on. You get to write the ad copy that you want to write. And on that note too, you get to rotate, 3-6 different versions to see which one performs better. You also get to choose the locations where your ads run. And then you get to choose the page that when people click, the page that they get to, which is extremely important, and gets into the whole landing page optimization realm of digital marketing too. That'll be another show we do. We did some of that last week. But then too, you also get to control your budget. And so if you're just starting out, you can start small and scale up. And so there's this great comfort level of easing you into running ads up on Google, Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite part of Google Ads?
I would say definitely the control that you can have over it. So like I said, you can be really strategic with the keywords that you use and the location and the ad copy, basically every aspect. So, for example, that one diamond company that we have as a client, if we want to target someone who's actively looking for an engagement ring and is looking to buy pretty soon, we can easily target someone who's in our area, with the specific keyword of engagement rings near me, and we can allocate our budget towards that and really drive the result that we want pretty easily. So yeah, definitely control.
Exactly. So yours is control. I think mine are the new bidding strategies that are available. So something that Google has launched in the past few years is more sophisticated bidding, which I think makes it more inclusive for all advertisers now. So we can now bid based on maximizing traffic or maximizing conversions, right? And so, the cool thing about that is, Danny and I are both shopping for cars, right? But she just started shopping and I've been shopping, right? And so Google knows that I've been shopping longer, and that I am more likely to convert, right? It also knows that I've made other conversions in the past,
right.
And maybe she hasn't. So, excuse me. Google will, in essence, retroactively, if you choose like a maximize conversions bidding strategy, will basically show ads, certain ads to me as a consumer that are different than what they show Dania. And it's based on where we are within the funnel, and where we are as online consumers too. And so what that does is just, really basically stops any other wasted spend that might be associated with running ads up on Google.
Right.
Because you're telling Google that, hey, I essentially want to pay when I'm getting leads, when I'm getting sales, right? And this works really great for established campaigns that already have an idea of which keywords, are bringing them leads and sales.
And one other thing about Google search, you talked about the funnel. And another thing I like about it is that you can really target people in any stage of the funnel. So I have a stat I pulled up that said 73% of people who have become more interested in a brand or product after seeing an ad that is related to what they've been shopping for. So basically that means not only should you have, your brand name and stuff as a keyword, but it's really important to have your broad funnel. So like whatever product you're serving or service that you're serving, because someone might be looking at, a different competitor and just searching up the product. But if your ad pops up, then if they're in a middle funnel, there's a good chance they could switch to your brand too. So it's important to think about Google search in every stage of the funnel and how likely people are willing to switch to different competitors or not.
It's very true. And so I kind of want to, leave the Google Ads topic with this. If you're not running Google Ads, don't be scared. You definitely should, because you can run them in any capacity that you want, right?
Mhm.
Small budget, large budget. And then that makes room for you to, of course, scale up. I think every business should be running Google ads on at least a handful of their core products and services. And the one vital thing that I want to say to be successful is I think organization of your Google account, in your campaigns, in your ad groups, in your keywords, keeping that really tight and organized is what separates, so-so results from incredible results.
Right.
And that's what, we see with a lot of clients who come to us. A lot of times I don't feel like their Google Ads accounts were set up structurally very organized. And when it's not organized, you don't see the data flow very clearly. And it doesn't show you which keywords you should be turning off, which keywords you should be souping up, right? Which ad copy needs to be changed out, so on and so forth. And so those little things, those little nuggets that you learn about over time from a well-organized campaign really make the difference and help you climb ROI within this particular channel.
Yeah, that's a really good point on how organization can help you find out more marketing insights and stuff so you can implement them into future strategies.
Exactly. So, should we move on?
Yes.
Okay, so moving on to remarketing. And so, as I said, we're kind of working in a reverse funnel here, right? Where we're talking about conversion first, moving on to consideration and nurturing. And that is where remarketing comes in. I think remarketing has been for a long time an incredibly powerful nurturing marketing channel. And so up on Google, there's two main types. So you can remarket with image ads, which we've all seen, and Dania hinted on that earlier. So they're ads that might run up on CNN.com, Yahoo, your favorite sports websites like 24/7, Inside the Gators. I'm a Gator fan. So they're display ads that show up there, but they can also be video ads that show up on YouTube. So when you visit a website, and the next time you go to YouTube, how often do you see a video from the company that you just visited, right?
Yeah, all the time.
Exactly, right. And so this is something that, all of the biggest brands, I feel like, have been utilizing for a long time. But it's not something a lot of local businesses have migrated to. And I don't understand why, because it is extremely cost effective, right?
Yeah.
And
I would say that's my favorite part about retargeting campaigns. I kind of mentioned this last episode, but with retargeting campaigns that we've had, usually with the same budget or even less than what we would allocate towards a cold prospecting campaign, we'll get better results every single time.
Exactly. Because they have previously interacted with your brand before. So they've been to the website before. And so they know, right about what you have to sell, your price point, so on and so forth. What I like to use remarketing for is a lot of times people come into a website with a single focus, right? And they see what you have to offer and how much you offer it for and so on and so forth. But every business has a lot higher value proposition than just one thing. And I like to utilize remarketing ads to drip out your other value points that you have, right?
Right.
If it's 30-day money back guarantee, if it's a bigger guarantee, if it's something about your product or service that gives it a little bit of an edge over the competition, right? In terms of how it was built, if there's something about your process, right? So on and on, there's a lot of different ideas that you could sort of drip out utilizing images and video in remarketing campaigns to help basically nurture that user along.
Right.
So what's a brand that you've just kind of recently discovered and is now retargeting you some?
I would say I've been looking for activewear, so like leggings and stuff.
Oh, they got a lot. So,
Yeah, so that's a really crowded market. But I
mhm.
looked at a company called Gymshark, and I didn't buy anything yet, but I have been getting their ads nonstop on Facebook and
Mhm.
Instagram, their emails. So they're doing a pretty good job. And I would say what their content looks like are videos of them in the product using it. So they'll talk about how it's like squat proof and how much they like it, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like testimonials are really good too, on
Yes.
top
Mhm.
of um, special deals and awards.
Exactly. Um, too, one of the cool things about retarget, it's come a long way from where it first started, right? So how you're able to run campaigns now is, one, you can retarget based on all of your website visitors, right? So if anyone
Mm-hmm.
visits any page up on your website, you could send them an ad. But you could take it a step further and you can retarget people based on specific pages that they visited on your site, which I think is important, because if they came in, say from a Google ad, or, from social media, and they only visited select pages, maybe it's only a portion of the products that they have, right? So Gymshark, you said?
Yeah,
So if you only visited their
like
legging
leggings. Yeah,
pages and not their shirts, right?
right.
They can just send you ads related to leggings and leave off some of the other parts of their product family.
Right.
Um, Also, you can upload a customer list into Google, and then you can retarget people based on them being past customers of yours, which,
Mm-hmm.
it might sound intrusive, but I think it's a fantastic way of keeping in touch with them, number one. And number two, if they bought from you in the past, why not sweeten the deal? You know that they already like you. Send them an additional discount.
Right. That always works really well. Another audience list you can create is if you have your first ad being a video, you can choose like a person who watched 10 seconds of your video, or watched your video all the way through, or 15 seconds. And
Mm-hmm.
you can create different audiences based off of that, which is really good if you really want to get a lot of brand awareness and create a giant list of people, because you'd be surprised how many people watch a video all the way through.
Right. Exactly. And that's an important point too. So one of the advantages of remarketing with YouTube is that you can sequence out the videos too, right? So you can send, Dania video 1, and then video 2, and then video 3. And
Mm-hmm.
that's important because you don't exactly know where she is mentally with making her buying decision. And you also, we're all different, right? So different value propositions make different people take an action, and that
Right.
enables you to go from just having a singular value proposition to being able to test out and utilize multiple.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point.
Yeah. So, Google, very, very powerful remarketing options on there. So, anything else about remarketing? I think we covered it pretty good.
I think we did too.
Okay, let's move on to where I think this is what starts to separate the men from the boys, right? It is the discovery suite of products that Google has. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's the display ads, as well as YouTube ads. And what we consider this to be is cold prospecting, right? Is hunting for new individuals who have behaviorally shown an interest in what you offer. Let's go serve them an ad and see if we can't start to get them into our brand sphere, right?
Right. I pulled a bunch of statistics out for the discovery phase of the
Oh, good.
purchasing
Mhm.
decision. Okay, here we go. People who go online, 76% enjoy making unexpected discoveries when shopping. 86% look for shopping ideas and inspiration. And nearly
Mhm.
3 in 4 admit that they're always on the lookout for brands and products that are relevant. So basically, this all means that it's really essential to blanket the entire web with your brand, because you don't know where people are looking. They could be on Pinterest looking for inspiration if you're like a fashion or jewelry company, or even a restaurant for recipes, on Facebook and Instagram. Obviously, people are always looking for inspiration and seeing what products are out there, and they have the features where it's like related services and stuff. So again, it's really important to blanket every channel, so when people are looking online, they'll find you.
Exactly. And so in the discovery phase, I like to typically say, discovery marketing and advertising, this is where businesses become brands, right? And so, every big brand that we see and we know, as household brands, they pour a tremendous amount of effort and funds into the discovery phase. So, traditionally it was radio, it was TV, it was, print. Modern day today, it is display ads. It's a lot of video. And so Google offers two fantastic channels for that. So their display ad platform, which runs right inside of the Google Ads suite, and YouTube ads as well. And so, really just taking those two into consideration, Google reaches 90% of all internet users. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't even think about how big that is.
I know, right? And so, one point that I do want to make as it relates to local businesses, these numbers can sound intimidating, but when you localize it, it's really not. In display advertising, running YouTube ads, in this sort of discovery phase where we're looking for new customers to come into our business, these are the most cost-effective channels to run ads up on Google, right? And
definitely.
Of course, I said that they reach 90% of internet users. Well, let's rethink that, right? So we have the ability to reach 90% of our neighborhood, right? Or 90% of our city very cost effectively, right? And, that's what I love about display is that you can essentially blanket an entire city for low funds. And what we're seeing right now in the middle of the pandemic is that you can do that for even lower funds. And so we've had a lot of clients come out and have tremendous success with display over the last 3 months, because instead of backing down due to the coronavirus, they're actually using it as an opportunity. As other advertisers have migrated away from advertising some, they're buying up more inventory.
Yeah. And when we say it's a low price, we're not saying, oh, it's like $2. We're saying it's like 10 cents. Like it's really, really cost effective. So it's really great time for businesses to start trying and out discovery ads.
Exactly. And so, what we're running into a lot now is we're siphoning off some of their overall budget, putting it into display and into YouTube ads, those that have a video ready. And, say even a mere $500 a month spend at 10 cents a click is bringing in 5,000 new people into their website. And like right now is, for a lot of our clients, this is the most traffic that their websites have ever received. And it's because they've been open to trying new advertising channels like display, because they know that they now need to reach more new people.
Yeah. And so let's talk about YouTube a little bit. YouTube, like we said, is very cost effective. But another thing I really like about it is because of Google's capabilities, you can really have, like I said, a lot of control over it. So let's say you have a bigger budget, you can adjust your bid to be higher for top performing channels. So, like people who have followers in the millions and stuff. You can also advertise. If you're, let's say, a really specific service or product, you can choose to advertise on specific channels, like put in their URL. we don't do that with a lot of clients, but if you're very a niche industry, then that's a really great option. And you can also advertise on videos that are about relevant topics. So you're not going to be, advertising towards someone who's a mom when it's, has nothing to do with kid products. So that's what I really love about YouTube ads.
Me too. Too with YouTube, I think that's kind of where Google is able to really compete with a Facebook and an Instagram. Facebook and Instagram, there's a lot going on those feeds. And you can really, just blaze past an ad essentially. But with YouTube ads, you can't get to the video content you want without seeing an ad. So they kind of went, checkmate. We have engagement. We have guaranteed engagement and attention over here because they have to get through 6 seconds before they're able to see, the funny video or the viral video or the how-to that they actually went there to watch. So Dania started hinting on some of the targeting capabilities for display in YouTube ads, and how they're kind of defined is, one, you're able to target based on affinity. Okay. And what affinity means is, take me for example, my main interests are, one, I'm a dad, right? And then, so I look up a lot of dad stuff. Two, I'm a surfer, so I'm always on surfing websites. I'm into yoga and working out a lot, and I look at a lot of recipes. So I get served a lot of that content as ads, right? Because Google knows that I always am interested in surfing and yoga and cooking and all that kind of stuff. So their affinity targeting is very, I would say topic based. Based on what you as an individual are most interested in. And you're able to go and target, surfers, right? In whatever geographical location fits your particular business.
Right. And you can also create an audience based off of a competitor list. So if you really want to, be really competitive against your top performing competitors, that's a cost-effective way of doing that.
Exactly. And so that falls into their custom intent targeting.
Right.
And so with custom intent, you can load up a list of your competitors as keywords and as URLs. You can also basically take your keyword list that you might use to optimize your website, or that you might be running in Google ads, and load that in too. And so custom intent's really cool because it goes and finds the individuals that have either visited those websites in the past 30 days or have searched on those keywords the past 30 days. Right. So very, very targeted there. And then, one of the last ways to do discovery is with in-market audiences. And so Google gives you an entire list of in-market audiences that you're able to choose from. So if you've been searching for trips to Hawaii, or if you've been shopping for luxury goods or luxury watches or tires or, really anything, they have a tremendous amount of indexed in-market audiences for you to go ahead and choose from.
Right.
And so then that opens you up to, you'll be able to run ads to individuals who in the last, 30, 45, 60 days have shown an interest in shopping for, tires or Rolex watches or leggings or whatever. So now, what are some of the things, that separate great display campaigns from bad,
Definitely how creative the content is, I would say.
Yeah. I would put a big focus on really good ad creative. And what we mean by that is images, headlines, and descriptions too, right? And so it's really cool. Google allows you to test out a lot of different ad creative to see what works. But, by and large, what you put into it is what you get out of it. So if you're running better creative, you tend to get better engagement from your ads, and hence start to move people down the funnel easier than if you just throw up something, really, quick and dirty, and, it might not perform all that well.
Right. And another thing that, I mean, it's not technically being creative, but in terms of the content, it's really important to make sure you have high quality video. Like 1080, I think, is the most ideal to have. The iPhone actually has really good quality. So if you don't have access to a good camera, you could always use your iPhone with, as long as it has good lighting. But if it's blurry and an old video, I would really start from scratch.
Right. That's a very good point. I also, for whatever reason, like I think because it's action oriented, I tend to love those YouTube videos where people are, walking and holding the phone. And
vlog style.
Right. Yeah. For some reason, those always kind of draw me in, and I always go past, the 6-second mark there. So.
Yeah, I think that's because you probably go on YouTube to watch, more personal videos. Like I know I watch a lot of influencer videos about fashion and stuff. So when I see an ad that fits in with that, then I don't even think of it as an ad. I think of it as like another YouTube video.
Right.
So that's a good way to think about it.
You just brought up a good point too, and maybe something that we didn't hint on with targeting earlier, but with influencers, right, you are able to advertise based on specific channels.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's a YouTube only feature. But if you want to target, fashionistas who visit, I don't know any fashion influencers, but these three, you're able to actually do that. And so that's powerful, because within a city, right, like, Jacksonville, North Florida, that makes it cost effective, but it also makes it so targeted, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a boutique that offers, high-end fashion clothing, you're able to target people that are really into that particular thing,
Right. I've definitely actually seen that with, I watch a whole bunch of influencers, but there's always like little sections of groups. So I watch these three who are in Australia, and they always have the same brand deals as each other. And on top of those brand deals, I'll always get their YouTube ads in the beginning. So those brands are definitely using that strategy where they're just flooding all my stuff with their ads, because they know if you watch one influencer, you're probably going to be watching these other two as well.
Right. That's like, Australia has a lot of influencers, I feel like.
They do. It's crazy. I don't know why.
Content. So I don't know either, but they must be really good at creating content. So
it's Australians and British people. I always see those two as the biggest influencers.
Maybe they're more outgoing than us.
I don't know, I guess.
They're more charismatic or something. So the other point that I want to make about YouTube ads, and this is something that, really YouTube is extremely good at, is that it can take you from discovery to nurturing to conversion, all within that one single video ad channel. And it's extremely efficient at doing that, I think, for a number of reasons. One, because you can't skip the ads until you see a portion of it, right? Two, it only costs about 2 cents to be seen in a skippable ad. So the amount of repetition that you can give is incredible. And then you're able to be tracked when you go to the website, so once you visited that particular brand site, you're then able to get into their nurturing video sequence and be shown all of those. They can then work in a conversion ad, that might have some kind of a free offer or discount or coupon code or something to get you to take action.
Right. That really ties in well with the last episode we did, where we said you need 32, on average, 32 touch points before someone can make a purchasing decision. So that's a cost-effective way of getting in those touch points in the beginning and at the end.
Exactly. Exactly. And so anything else about displaying YouTube?
No, I think we really touched on all aspects of it.
One thing I would like to leave you with here: do not sleep on the discovery phase of your funnel. So try out display, try out YouTube ads, please. It's extremely cost effective. You could blanket your entire city for very, very little. And, you know, remember, that's where businesses turn into brands. It's the ones that do really efficient, consistent discovery style marketing, because those are the ones that get more new customers to try out their products and services. So don't sleep on that.
Not to mention, I read in an article how discovery ads can also be nurturing to customers you already have. I mean, that's the whole thing about the brand experience, is about retaining your customers and making them feel like they're part of the community. So that's another way of doing that.
Great point. Very true. You know, the last thing that I want to hint on, and I think everyone is fairly familiar with this, but Google Analytics. It's the product that kind of ties all of this together. So all of the ads and all of the traffic and all of that. So Google Analytics, if you don't know, but more than likely you do, it is the free stats tracker that Google gives out and allows us to put on websites, and it tracks the who, what, when, where, how, you know, of your website,
right?
Where they came from, what pages they visited, so on and so forth. It also has a really great conversion tracking suite. So you're able to load up goals, or you're able to track your e-commerce product sales in there. And I would say that's where we spend the vast majority of our time, is in analytics. And because it helps us understand how people, what is the traffic doing when it gets to your site. So that helps us get better insights moving forward, and how to adjust your ad campaigns.
Yeah. Another thing I really like about the report, probably my favorite, is you can see the demographics and, you know, all the users, you know, their age, gender, location, and also their interests. I come from a marketing research background with, you know, I like understanding the psychology of a consumer and why they make a purchasing decision. So I love seeing, you know, if people are randomly interested in something else you wouldn't expect, and seeing how those two can connect. It's really great for coming up with new ideas with your marketing and content.
Exactly. And so, you know, too, everything that we just talked about is getting people to your website. So this is Google's product for basically giving you insights on how people are using your websites. So use those insights, because if people are landing on a particular page and they're not doing what you want them to do, chances are there's a content issue, and Google Analytics will help you identify that. And then you can go and make an action plan to improve engagement and thus improve conversion.
Right.
So what's your fave Google Analytics report?
Well, I would say it's the demographics and interests, but besides that, I also really like, you know, the standard conversions and then sources. So basically figuring out what sources bring in all your conversions. So basically seeing if what we're doing is working.
Right.
And it's nice seeing that, you know, all the efforts we put in actually bring in results. Like we said, it's usually Google paid search is always a really, really top performing. So, and if something isn't working well, then it's interesting to figure out what we're doing wrong. It's basically the source of why we make any decision in what we do.
That's true.
Well, what about you?
I think my favorite report is the landing page report. Because I'm really interested on what all of this inbound traffic, since we can control where they land, I'm really interested in what their first impression is of a client's website, right? And how we can improve that. I guess a second is they have a flow chart too that shows they entered this page, then they went to this page and so on. I love that because it shows us what's important to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might also show us where we need to improve the navigational elements of the site, right?
Right.
And so we've done that a number of times in the past. And so if users are consistently not hitting pages where we really need them to go, it's helped us make website changes that really improve that path flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So that's Google, everybody. Full suite. I think we've hit on everything that they offer a business. Again, 2 free tools, Google My Business. Be sure to claim your listing and fill the thing out completely. Google Analytics, make sure that it is installed on your website. It'll give you a wealth of knowledge about who's coming there, how, and what they're going through. Also, like I said, if you're not running a Google Ads campaign, please do so. Just start a small one on a handful of your core terms. And then again, businesses turn into brands with discovery based advertising like display ads and YouTube ads. So that's all I'd like to leave everyone with today. How about you? Any parting thoughts?
I think you pretty much touched on everything. Just really thinking of everything in the funnel purchasing decision. And thinking about where your brand fits in with each component and being creative with the content. Yeah.
Huge point. Be creative with the content. Don't sleep on that. So, okay, guys, thank you for watching.
Thank you.
We will be back next week with another awesome episode. If you have any questions about your own marketing efforts and you would like to talk with us, we offer a free consultation. So visit our website, soudmarketing.com, and you can see there'll be a button at the very top. You can fill out the form and set a free strategy session with us. We're happy to talk with you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Bye.